corner of the internet. I washed my brushes yesterday, so now is a great time to show you the brushes, you know, because they're clean. I'm gonna start with face brushes. I want to go through the styles of brushes that I like for each step of my process and kind of just explain why I have the brush, what I recommend, and so on and so forth. But I'm gonna do my makeup while I talk about it because I always prefer that when people do a favorites video or talking about things they like, I like it when they demonstrate it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my face first today. And so that means we're gonna start with a little bit of foundation, or I'm gonna use tinted moisturizer today. I've already primed my face, by the way. I'm just gonna spread this around. Putting it on the back of my hand first so that it warms up slightly. Just spreading this out, and then we will be blending it with a brush. I could blend it with my fingers, but I like the finish of the brush better. And so my favorite foundation brushes are these three, and I recommend that you find the style of foundation brush you like and stick with it. So this is just a flat top Kabuki brush. This is also a flat Kabuki brush, but it's got this cool angle. It's called the Curve Kabuki from Sigma. I'll list all of these brushes in the description below. But I like it because it's good for getting into the face shape. So I guess I'm using this brush today. This is a Ecotools from the drugstore. Don't think it has it. Oh yeah, it does. Blending and bronzing brush. It's a Duofiber. Love it for all types of cream and liquid products. It's a very good brush, but I really do like it for foundation. But right now, while I'm using a Sigma brush, is a great time to talk about brush quality. So when I first got into makeup, I just got a bunch of Morphe brushes because that's what everybody on YouTube talked about, and they're cheap. And yeah, now I don't really enjoy Morphe brushes personally. They shed like crazy, and I think that's annoying because I like to have a dewy skin and glossier finishes, so I like the hair sticks to the bristles like stick to my face, and I don't love that. But then as I got more and more into makeup, it actually became worth it to me to invest in brushes. And this is a Sigma brush, which is an investment. The quality is night and day better. Like, you can just touch it and feel how much better of a quality brush it is. It doesn't fall apart, never sheds. It's gonna last me for years. But I take care of it and wash it and all that. But I like this brush so much. But like I said, it's very good for contouring. I can use it for powder or cream, but it fits right here on the face very well. But I like to use it for foundation because you see it gets in all these spots. It's good for blending out concealer under the eyes. You see, just a very good brush. But I also like these. Just depends what's clean, quite frankly. This is good for liquidier formulas, like the Wet n Wild Dewy foundation is a little of a liquidier foundation. And this works well with that. I love this It Cosmetics flat top Kabuki brush. I think it's really nice. Oh, I'm just dirtying up my brushes. I just cleaned it. Stop it. Okay. And yeah, next step will be concealer, and these are a couple of brushes I love for blending out my concealer. This is the Colourpop F9 smaller Duofiber brush. This is probably my favorite cream product. I like to blend out cream, blush, bronzer, highlighter, foundation, everything. And then this is a Luxie F12 or 512 small contouring brush. I never use it for contouring. I blend out concealer and blush, and I've done highlighter And every now and then, I guess, contour, but I don't like to follow rules. So I'm gonna use my Colourpop brush. I'm gonna use my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. And we're just gonna let that dry slightly. And I'll have more coverage once it dries up a little. A little trick I've learned about letting your concealer slightly dry before you blend it out is a tip that I learned from Jackie Aina first on YouTube, and then I've also more recently seen Harush, who, oh my god, follow her. She's amazing. She's a celebrity makeup artist, and she's just, she's a good follow. But anyway, she's also passed along this knowledge that if you place the concealer right where you want it, you let it dry up slightly before you blend it out. I like to do my brows while I let it sit. And then when I blend it, the concealer just has a much better finish. It stays where it's supposed to stay. It doesn't move around. Somehow I think it's brighter. Anyway, I think it's really good. Blend it out with this Colourpop brush. And then the technique is a patting motion. Never swipe. Okay. Well, once we do this initial blending, we might swipe. You'll see. But at first, pat, pat, pat. This is how you get the most skin-like finish. And I've mentioned this before, and I will mention it again, that if you want your makeup to look good and not like cakey and unblended, you have to take the time and put in the effort to actually blend your products out, or else it will not look good. So if you don't have time to sit here like this, don't choose this type of concealer. This is just a heavier consistency because it's very full coverage. If you want a lighter coverage, choose a lighter formula. The long story short is, if you're gonna use a concealer like this, you have to learn the technique of how to apply it. That was something I feel I learned the hard way. Like I would just, I don't know, not fully blend out or do techniques that I saw other people doing and not really figure out what works for my skin. Like this brush I found on Colourpop's website myself. It's not like somebody else recommended it to me, which recommendations are great, but discover what works for you is what I'm trying to get at. You don't have to just get the trendy thing. Find products that work for you. And I feel like I had to learn that through a lot of trial and error when it comes to makeup. And also keep a light touch. Okay, with all brushes. Don't like pound your face, just. Also, it's more relaxing too if you tap like this. Feels nice. Little face massage. All right, next step will be powder. And I, of course, have specific brushes I like to use for powder. I like to basically just set my under eye and some specific spots. I use the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease brush. It's an eyeshadow brush. What are rules? I'll set my powder, my under eye right here. And I like it. Because it's a very dense brush. And I just think it packs the powder nicely and blends it out at the same time. And like I said, it's small, but not too small. It's good. Packing just around the nose because this product will Did I not blend my nose out? Oh, yikes. People have got to start telling me. Why do I always forget to blend something out? As I'm just preaching about how important it is. Mainly I'm preaching to myself because clearly I have work to do. If I wanted to bake or set my under eyes with a brightening powder or something, I like to use a tapered fluffy brush. I'm not going to do that right now, but I did just want to share. I like these types of tapered fluffy brushes. Just on a day-to-day basis, I like using this smaller one because I use less powder. My skin looks less cakey, or like less makeup-y and cakey, you know? Okay, next up is gonna be contour or bronzer, just depending on the day, but I do like to initially go in with a more precise brush, like this. I like this Sigma Soft Angle Contour F23. I could contour like this, or my big fan Colourpop F13 brush. It's also good for a contour bronze situation, but I'm gonna use the Sigma one right now. Also gonna use my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Load that up on the brush and I just like it. It's fast and it blends and places the pigment on it once. I'm not gonna do it now because I have a brush for nose contour, but if you're in a pinch, a brush like this or this, you can very carefully put it down the sides of the nose if needed. And if I want to add a bit more bronzer, like this is just a nice little bronze, like a nice little warmth. But if I want to darken it up, I'm gonna go in with a darker shade of the butter bronzer called Sunset Bronzer. I will take a bigger, like actual bronzer brush, like big one of these. These are just like, this one's actually a Morphe one, as I'm just talking them. This is a Real Techniques blush brush, but I like to use it for bronzer. This is a Moda brush, like Royal and Langnickel. I'm gonna use the Real Techniques one right now, but go in this Sunset Bronzer. And I like to just place it on this edge of the brush, just on one side, tap off the excess, and then go right into the high points on my cheekbone. And I love a brush like this. I have a big face, so this works for me. But I just think it, like, again, blends and applies very smoothly. Gets the product where I need it to be. Oh, blush, my favorite part. And honestly, my favorite brush. This is my favorite style of brush. Without a doubt, I love a loose, fluffy brush like so. So this is probably my most treasured brush that I own. The Smashbox Buildable Cheek Brush is pricey, but worth it. It's the best. I love this style of brush. This is a Morphe one, so it's the same style if you want to test it out. Works similarly, but it just sheds. It sucks like in comparison to the Smashbox one, but this one's expensive. This one's reasonably priced. And if you wanted to test it, this is the JH06 Morphe brush. I like to use these for blush or sometimes like a finishing powder or a setting situation. I can use this brush for bronzer, blush, highlight, setting, anything. It's awesome. And then this brush is a little bit flimsier, but it's a highlight brush, but it can be used for the same things. I just like a brush that can give me a soft effect. I'm gonna use the Smashbox one now. I'm gonna go in with this Colourpop Coast to Coast powder blush. But oh, I just love this because it diffuses the color rather than like applying it strongly. I just really like the diffused look, so I like this brush a lot. I wanted it for probably 8 to 10 months before I bought it. Like, I would pay attention to see if Smashbox would ever have sales. This brush never went on sale, except I think it did for Black Friday, but I didn't have the money. Or like, I wanted to buy other things over this brush. I think it's like a $30 brush, which is just ridiculous for a freaking makeup brush, but I did it. I just wanted it so bad, and so I got it, and I don't regret it. I use it every single day. I love it so much. Very nice. And then the next type of brush, oh, I guess I skipped my nose contour. So I, again, use an eyeshadow brush for this, the Real Techniques Base Shadow Brush. It's a tapered blending brush. You could use any blending brush, honestly. Eyeshadow brush, and then I'll just dip into my bronzer here and go into the sides of my nose. And then, like, depending on the level of getting ready you're doing, if you needed to, you could just run the bronzer into your eye crease to just quickly look put together. Not doing that now because I'm gonna wear eyeshadow. Next up is highlight. These are a couple of highlighting brushes. This is a classic fluffy tapered highlighting brush, Moda brand. I like this for powder highlight, and then I like to use a flat foundation brush like this. This is a Luxie 510 flat foundation brush. I like to use these for highlights, especially cream highlights. For cream or liquid highlights, I will, honestly, I'll also use this Colourpop Duofiber F9 that I blended the concealer out with. I also like this for liquid highlight. This one's good. I think I'm gonna go into this Physicians Formula palette. Their butter bronzers are sort of a putty highlight type of texture, sort of like the Colourpop Super Shocks, but I'm gonna use this brush and go into this shade Whimsical up here. And then I'll just put it on my cheek. And it blends nicely. Holy crap. Wow. Really pretty. It's intense though. But anyway, I like this brush because it's a foundation brush, so it works well with creams. It's precise. Yeah, that's that. I guess that concludes the face brushes. Oh, another shout out to a staple to have in your collection is a big like powder brush like this. I think I'll demonstrate how I would use that. Yeah, I could go for that. So here's a little trick. So I use this powder to set my under eyes. It's just the CoverGirl Advanced Radiance powder. And then I also have this Essence Pure Nude highlighter. This highlighter is dirt cheap. If you look at the ingredients, it has many of the same ingredients that a lot of classic like finishing powders have. So I use this highlighter as a finishing powder, and I like to use this brush to do that. So what I'll do is take a little of the pressed powder, then go into the highlighter, then more of the pressed powder, and then into the palm of my hand. And then I just tap, 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 tap. And this, I swear, works like a finishing powder, and it gives the skin a nice glow. And I have dry skin, so just saying, it looks nice. And then the best thing to do after this, this brush is huge, by the way. I have a very large face, so it works for me. You might need like the bronzer brush I was using. This might be a good powder brush if you have a smaller face. Like I said, you have to get the brushes that work for you. This is just what works for me. Anyway, after I finish tapping around, I'm gonna go straight in with the setting spray to blend it all together. All right, that concludes the face brushes that I love to use portion of the video. I'll put the link to the eye brushes I like. I'll put the link to that video in the description of this video, so you can check that out. I don't know which one I'm posting first, but we'll see. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, these are some of the brushes I like. I've really curated my collection over the last several years, so definitely a lot of trial and error. All of them will be listed in the description. Disclaimer, no affiliate links. I'm not sponsored in any way. I bought all of these myself, unfortunately. And yeah, have a good one. See you tomorrow.